was a child, I believed, and I believe it more strongly today, that my dad's heart is the biggest and strongest I've ever known. It seems strange that the surgeons have been forced to operate on Dad's heart 3 different times. It has done so much more than simply pump blood through his body. This heart has embraced me and so many others with love that knows no bounds. My dad, Irby Matthew Mandrell, youngest of 4, came from a strong, close family. Raised in a God-fearing, flag-waving, hard-working musical home, Dad's priorities were molded at a young age. God and country, family, then hard work. With his love of country, Dad's always been proud that he served in the Navy, but like so many young men who served in the military during World War II, he doesn't talk about it often. While entertaining at a church in Fairfield, Illinois, with his brother Ira and his sister-in-law Marjorie, Irby Matthew Mandrell met a talented, beautiful piano player, still in high school. Mary Ellen McGill was enamored by the good-looking and charming older man. She quickly fell in love, and with Grandma McGill's blessings, they were soon married. Irby, anxious to have his boys, was very surprised on Christmas Day when, after a difficult birth, as Dad says, Mother Mary and a wise man began their family. Barbara, a cute, outgoing bundle of energy, was 5 when Dad brought Mom and I home from the hospital. Holding his new baby in his arms, he was greeted by an unwilling, outspoken blonde who was not used to sharing the spotlight. Dad threw open the door. He said, "This isn't our baby, she has dark hair." And he went into the restroom and he slammed the door. And he put me down on the floor and he locked the door and he said, "I'm flushing her down the commode." And Barbara started banging on the door and she said, "I'll take care of her, she can be my baby." On Mom and Dad's 3rd try for a boy, they had Ellen Erlene Mandrell, named after both Mom and Dad. Dad shared with me in one of our quiet talks that he loves each of us girls equally, but Erlene has a special place in his heart because he not only helped give her life, but he helped save her life. When in a car accident, Erlene was thrown in a ditch where the car landed over her. Dad picked up the car with one arm and pulled Erlene to safety with his injured arm. After having 3 girls, Dad firmly told Mom, "Eeny, meeny, miny, and no mo." We never greet Dad without a kiss. He's always been affectionate, only to be topped by his sense of humor. He taught us teasing was a wonderful way to show affection. From singing the wrong words to our favorite songs to playing kissing games, Daddy would ask, "Where do you want to be kissed?" And we would always answer by pointing all over our faces. All little girls are proud of their daddies, but our dad wore a uniform. Daddy was a police officer during the 50s in Texas, and I asked Dad what was the most dangerous thing he ever did as a police officer. He said, "Try to give your mom a ticket." Dad loved police work almost as much as music. He had several successful jobs in the music business, but finally he owned his own music store and he started the Mandrell Family Band. Dad, with Mom, Barbara, who was in high school, and a few other musicians, including Kim Dudney, who would later marry Barbara, entertained at local military bases and toured the Far East during the Vietnam War. While in Vietnam, switching helicopters between performances, a serviceman mentioned to Dad that they were not one of the stops that got entertainment. Dad got them to set up a tent, and the band set up their gear, and in costume, they entertained the men coming in from the fields. Rarely a week goes by when someone doesn't come up to me and share how something Dad did or said made a huge impact in their lives. I was not surprised, but I certainly was proud when Baptist Hospital dedicated their new Mandrell Heart Wing, naming it after the man who had the biggest heart they do, Daddy. Dad had been a patient several times at Baptist Hospital, always keeping the doctors and nurses entertained with his jokes and practical jokes, like hanging a can of WD-40 off his IV and telling the doctor that his new medicine was really working well, and teasing student nurses with his new medical breakthroughs. During recovery of his 2nd surgery 6 months after the first, he showed a student nurse an old scar where they had taken the vein from his leg and his new scar on his chest. He convinced her that he was healing his leg quickly through positive thinking, not telling her that he had a new scar on his other leg. Of course, the student nurse went out to get other student nurses, and pretty soon his hospital room was full and he had an audience. But the head nurse came down and pushed everybody out and told Daddy to behave himself. That is a great example of how much joy you can give people if you put your heart into it.
Irby Matthew Mandrell, to his grandchildren, has always been known as the smartest man in the world. What started out as a playful statement to tease parents and show off grandkids ended up being a known fact among the third generation. Irby was an imaginative businessman, and judging by his successful protégés, he knew what he was doing. With good training and determined minds, success has come to each one of his daughters. Barbara was the first daughter to reap the benefits of grandfather Irby's knowledge and persistence. His teachings have been clearly shown throughout her career by her vast abilities with instruments and wonderful stage presence. She passed these traits on to her son Nathan. Nathan, starting at a young age, has always been clever while on stage. Now, however, he is following in grandfather's footsteps by going into the business side of the music industry, and soon he'll be married to Hannah Menifee, who is on the path to becoming a doctor. In addition to the love of music, Derek also inherited grandfather's business savvy. While Derek is an accomplished drummer, he is currently working for AT&T and received the Top Salesman Award for the month of January. Louise was the next of three daughters. Irby passed on to her not only the love and ability of music, but also the adoration of shooting sports. This love she introduced to her sisters and shares with her nephew Matthew, who was named after grandfather Irby Matthew Mandrell on account of being the first grandson. Grandfather had always wanted a boy, and this was his chance to have one. Matthew is now married to the beautiful and talented Christian recording artist Christy Sutherland and is taking a page from grandfather's book by being her manager. Louise's ability of music and the direction of singing she passed on to me, her daughter Nicole. Though not pursuing music as a career, I must have inherited that smart gene from grandfather because I've surprised everyone by staying on the president's list in college and will be finished with my bachelor's degree in psychology by the fall. Erlene surely kept the house bright with her inherited sense of humor, this which she passed on to her own daughter Vanessa. When Irby was recovering from surgery, Vanessa's secret Christmas present, Mandy, her Maltese puppy, kept him company. He always teased Vanessa about having a good-for-nothing dog until he acquired Killer. Then the teasing lines were switched, and Vanessa started in on the accusing. Vanessa is now going into the family business by pursuing a singing career. Throughout the entire family, success runs rampant, thanks to the wisdom and encouragement coming from the top man, Irby. Thanks to the grandfather-instilled confidence, all of his grandchildren promise to be very successful in their own right. Jamie took his encouragement to heart and set out with only her dreams. After having a successful acting career, she now helps aspiring actors and actresses by teaching. Some of grandfather's encouragement must have rubbed off onto the youngest grandchild, Christina, because she plans on becoming an actress like her cousin Jamie. Grandfather Irby always wanted boys. Little did he know his three girls would reach into the homes of millions and inspire them to put God and family first. He may not have been able to carry out the heritage through the bloodlines of little boys, but there was no need. He did something much bigger. He made a difference in the world.
Dad has always been the head of the house, but Mom has always been the neck that turned the head. Mom has brought Dad coffee in bed every day of their marriage. She always looks her best for him and enjoys making him happy. Daddy's always been proud of his younger, beautiful, and extremely intelligent wife. They can truly feel a house full of love, especially during the holidays. Christmas always brought as many laughs as gifts. Daddy teased Barbara because he always could guess what his gift was. One year, Barbara had had enough. She bought Dad a new lighter and had it engraved, then wrapped it in a huge box and put it under the tree so she could tease him. One day, Barbara picked up the phone, Dad disguising his voice. "What'd you get your daddy for Christmas?" Barbara answered, "A lighter." Daddy believed in raising children to think for themselves and to be themselves. Even in grade school, he let us attend the church of our choice. This gave us an opportunity to learn about all the different denominations, and from Dad's wisdom, we have the love of Christ and a special understanding and respect for all the different denominations. My husband John put a 40-foot cross on the hill of our farm. When we turned on the lights, Dad, with a joyful heart, began to sing.
At the cross, where I first saw the light, and the burdens of my heart rolled away. It was there by faith I received my sight, and now I am happy all the day.